Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today, I welcome all of you to His Holiness Candramauli Swami daily call. We are continuing on the topic of Queen Kunti prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam. We will continue on Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 48. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol, glories to Srila Prabhupada, my obeisances.
Guru Maharaj, if it's okay, I can share the screen.
Yeah, you can begin.
Yes, Guru, I'm just sharing. Over to you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is first canto, chapters entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti, and verse number 48. So coming to the end of the chapter, and here were a series of verses that are centered around King Yudhishthira's lamentation after the battle of Kurukshetra. Aho me pasyata jnanam riddhirudam duratmanaha parakshya yaiva dehasya bhavyo me shokinir hataha. Translation. King Yudhishthira said, "O my lot, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has been killed, has killed many, many phalanxes of men." With Prabhupada's purport. A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantry, and 65,600 cavalry is called a Oksahini. And many Oksahinis were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaja Yudhishthira, the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a large number of living beings because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is, after all, meant for others. While there is life in this body, it is meant for the service of others. When it's dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Kristai Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachari Nirvisisa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Satana Panchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we get a little bit of an indication of infantry arrangements. So many chariots, elephants, infantry, and cavalry makes up an oxahini. In modern times, we use the word division, a division of military. So even in the modern sense, we have this division amongst the different types of infantry and equipment that makes up a particular division. So here it's called oxahini. So we get a little indication. And there were 13 oxahini divisions. On the side of the Pandavas, there were 11 oxahini divisions. Altogether, there were 24 oxahini divisions. Here, we're seeing a little bit about the lamentation of King Yudhisthira. He's thinking that because of me, because I wanted the throne, so many persons were killed, because this was the greatest battle in the history of war. 640 million soldiers were killed, plus, as it's also mentioned in the previous verse, hundreds and thousands were missing. So there was never been a battle like that in the history. But this battle was Dharma Yudhya. Dharma means, well, in this, Dharma has many meanings, but in this case, it means religious, and Yudhya means fight. It was fought on based of religious principles. Krishna was personally present. Because Krishna was personally present, and because he wanted the King Yudhisthira to be situated on the throne, and Yudhisthira was the head of the Pandavas, and the Pandavas were righteous, they were devotees of the Lord. So when the Lord comes to the material world, he wants to reestablish his devotees in positions to rule. So saintly rule will cover the earth. So here's an example of how it's being played out. So this is called Dharma Yudhya, a religious fight. We don't find such battles nowadays. Nowadays, the wars are fought over territories. One particular country wants to encroach on the territory of another country, or onto the resources of another country. Or there is a long-standing enmity between countries due to cultural and differences. And so the wars, and most of the wars are fought over economic gain. A country becomes greedy to possess more and more. So you see in the history of wars, there have been conquerors. We had Hitler, we had Stalin, you had Alexander the Great, many great persons who are avaricious and acquiring more and more control of the world's population, the world's land resources. Battles are fought in that way. So there's no dharma in the Yudhya. It's all based on sense gratification and greediness. But this was a battle that was fought for reestablishing religious principles and for putting devotees on the head, in the rule. And therefore, there's no reason why King Yudhishthira should lament. But he's a devotee and he's thinking that it was all done for me. And so many women who were mothers, who were sisters, who were daughters now are without their protectors, the husbands, the brothers, the fathers. All of these have been killed because of me. So how much havoc, and you'll see as you go on with the verses, he's also lamenting over the animals that were killed on the battlefield too, such as the elephants and the horses. He's soft-hearted. This is the nature of a devotee. He's by nature soft-hearted. But Krishna will teach him through Bhishma Dev that actually he was meant to rule the world. And Bhishma Dev will also instruct him on the science of how to rule the world. Here's another important part of this particular verse, which is meant for all of us, and that is the body does not belong to us. We always say my body, but actually we've been given the body. The body is not something that, has come by our own creation. We've given the body. Our parents, our mother gives us our body, our father gives us our life. Together we have what is called a living entity situated in the material world, in the material body. So we might say that our body belongs to our parents. But then when we get older, we work for someone and our body is being maintained by our employer who gives us money to maintain the body. So you might say the body is meant for, it belongs to our employer who takes care of us. And then you will also see that people are also being taken care of by others. So the person who takes care of that body is really the owner of the body in that sense. So, and then here, when we die, what happens to the body? It goes into three states. As it disintegrates, it becomes ashes, and then it is taken by the maggots. It becomes dirt, and then the maggots and the germs and the worms start to feed on the dead body. And then sometimes it's thrown to the animals. They do that in India. They throw the body in the streets, and the dogs and the jackals chew on it, and it becomes stool. And sometimes the body is thrown into fire and it becomes ashes. So this body is destined to be destroyed in due course of time, either turning into earth, ashes, or stool. That's the destination of this wonderful body, which we put so much time, energy, and care in, and taking and keeping it happy and healthy. But that's a temporary affair. That should be done, but ultimately we should understand. And the body does not belong to us. You see, sometimes you see where there is slavery, bodies are traded, people buy people and then pay money, and that body belongs to the owner who paid the money. So we say my body, but actually it's not. But ultimately, then we also know that the body is a combination of material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. And Krishna says, these are my energies. So the combination of these energies make up the material body, but whose ingredients are they? They were produced by Krishna. So ultimately the body belongs to Krishna. As all of material energy belongs to Krishna, so is our body. So when you come to that understanding, which is the complete understanding, you said, well, if the body belongs to God, then he's given me this body to use. So I should at least use it for him because it belongs to him. It's just like if you say you were a carpenter and you were contracted to build a house. So the person says, I want you to build this house for me. And you agree. And he provides the materials and he also provides the tools and you do the work. Well, when you're done, you can't say it's my house. He may give you some remuneration for the work you've done, but still the house belongs to the person who commissioned it. The same way Krishna has given us this body through our mother and father, which is a combination of the ingredients making up the material energy, to be used in his service as a means for getting out of the material world. If we use the body to enjoy in this material world, we go deeper into the cycle of birth and death and undergo various types of sufferings and some type of so-called enjoyment, which we call enjoyment. And if we use the body for Krishna service, then the body becomes again back to its original state and it becomes spiritualized. Srila Prabhupada said, one who is fully engaged in devotional service, it's like putting the iron rod into the fire. As the iron rod stays in the fire, as one stays in Krishna consciousness, the iron rod becomes like fire. So as we keep our mind and intelligence and senses in the service of the Lord, they become spiritualized because anything connected to the Lord becomes of the same nature. So the body also becomes spiritualized. And then it's no longer a combination of just material elements. It becomes spiritual energy, although it still looks the way it did before, but it has a different effect now. The effect is that body is no longer subject to the laws of material nature. It's under the care of the spiritual energy. And that is devotional service. So one who is actually intelligent, we can analyze. This is not pure devotional service, but it is a means for analytic study of how things in this world are ultimately controlled and owned by Krishna and are expansion of Krishna's different energies. So the material energy and the body is an expansion of the material energy, which is one of his energies, which is called Bahiranga Shakti. There's Antaranga Shakti, and there is Tatastha Shakti. Antaranga Shakti is the pure spiritual energy. Bahiranga Shakti is the energy that consists of the three modes of material nature, which are the different combinations of the material ingredients. And then the Tatastha Shakti is the living entity who is spiritual by nature, but is encased in a material body. So he's called Tatastha, which is marginal. Marginal means sitting on the fence. If you're sitting on the fence, that means there's two sides to the fence. You lean one side, or you can lean the other side. If you lean towards Krishna, you're leaning towards the spiritual energy. If you lean towards the material energy, you become captivated by that material energy. So therefore, one should understand that my body belongs to Krishna because he's given it to me and he's allowed me to use it. But I should use it for him because ultimately it belongs to him. So that's intelligence. It's like when somebody gives you something and says, well, you know, I have some use for it. So if you could use it, I'll give you some money. It's like we use the example of building the house. It's the same thing. Krishna has given us bodies so we can live in this material world and practice devotional service. because we desire to be separated from Krishna, we have to come to a place that is different than the spiritual world. And that is the material world. And there are so many universes, there are so many planets within the universes. And this is all part of the manifested, not the creative energy, which is the material energy. Material energy is the created energy. The spiritual energy is not created. It exists eternally. It's not different than Krishna. And we are of the same nature. We have the spiritual energy. So if we are intelligent, then we'll use our energy in Krishna's service. So we can tell how much time and energy I'm using for my material life and how much time I'm using for Krishna. One who's in full knowledge will give everything to Krishna. One who's in partial knowledge will understand that, yes, I also have to give something to this material energy. Well, one who's reaches full knowledge that everything belongs to Krishna, everything is created by Krishna, everything is meant for Krishna's service. I am Krishna's servant. My success in life is to connect myself using his material energy in service to him. That is knowledge, and that is also the platform of becoming free from the sufferings of the material energy. We see, people in the material world are always suffering. Why? Because they think they're this body, and they use the body whatever way they want to use it for their own selfish interests or their own sense interests. But the devotee will not think like that. The devotee will think, this is for Krishna. Everything's for Krishna because everything is created by Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. And I also belong to Krishna. Even the soul, although the soul is not created, it's still part of the spiritual energy, and it has an eternal relationship with the spiritual energy in service. And that spiritual energy is a person. He's called the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that with that intelligence, one will use whatever they have, including themselves, in the service of the Lord. And that awakens one's transcendental nature. Our transcendental nature is of two elements. There's three actually, but two main ones. It is full of knowledge and it's unlimitedly joyful, full of happiness. The other aspect that is it's eternal. And so in the material world, there's no such thing as full knowledge. And there's no such thing as knowledge either, because knowledge in the material world is just the arrangement of the material energy in a certain way. And because material energy is mutable, which means changeable, now that knowledge is always changing. Just like, for example, something is nice, but after some time, that same object becomes not nice. A person, when they're young, they may be very attractive, but as time goes on, the attraction is lost by the aging process. So in the same way, everything in this material world cannot be considered to be knowledge. It's called nescience. Nescience means that an extension of the knowledge, which is temporary but looks like knowledge, or the knowledge of the material energy. And so there's no such thing as real knowledge or complete knowledge in the material sense. Just like, for example, what is that? Let's think of that word. 1 minute, I'll get it, I think. I can't think of it. In other words, in this material world, we learn things, but real knowledge is not something you learn, it's something that is part of your existence. But in the material platform, which is not our existence, we have to learn things. We have to go to school. We have to get education. So the word education comes from the Latin word educare. And educare means to bring out. So real education is to bring out what is already there. And that is knowledge of Krishna, knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. That is real knowledge. And knowledge of everything, ultimately. So, although it's our innate nature, we've compromised it by trying to receive knowledge through the body and the senses and the intelligence. So what we get is not knowledge, we get nescience or ignorance, although it looks like knowledge. And then the other aspect is that happiness, everyone wants to be happy, joyful, free from anxiety, but as long as we have a material body, it's not possible. So we could use the material body in Krishna's service, and then we start moving towards that unlimited happiness, anandam buddhi vardhanam. There is an ocean of unlimited happiness that comes by way of devotional service. But it's not the kind of happiness we see in this material world, which is the contact of the senses with the sense objects. Senses, Krishna says, Yehi sparsa da boga dukkha yonaya evate avanta kontaya mateshu ramate buddha. That sense gratification is not real happiness, and it simply leads to suffering. So people think, well, if I connect my senses with some sense object, I get some happiness. But that's not happiness. That's just a connection with the external energy, which leads to a combination of three different results: either misery, some kind of happiness, or a combination of both of these. But transcendental happiness, which is the nature of the soul's existence, comes when we automatically connect with Krishna. Because Krishna is Atmarama, he's fully joyful. He's always joyful. Just like if you are in a room and there's a fireplace on one side of the room and you're on the other side, you may not be able to feel the warmth of the fireplace, but as you move closer to it, the heat starts to become more prominent, more of an experience. So at the same time, the more we go closer to Krishna through devotional service, the more we experience the qualities of Krishna, such as knowledge, happiness, eternality. So this has to be understood in relationship to this material body. So to have a body means to be put in a difficult situation. But as Srila Prabhupada said, to get a material body is a bad bargain. It's like if you go to the store and you buy the wrong thing and there's no exchange allowed on the product, you're stuck with the product. Then you might think, well, what can I do with the product? I didn't really want to buy it. So what is it? Oh, let me see what it is. Maybe I can use it in a different way. So yeah, in the same way, we're given a body, and that's a bad bargain because the soul has nothing to do with this material world or material body. So then we just think, let me use it in the service of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. And then that body becomes an opportunity to connect with the Lord in devotional service. It's just like, so the example is given, if you go to India, sometimes certain places, especially in Vrindavan, there's paths with thorns on it. And people walk barefooted on these paths, and sometimes a thorn will enter into a person's foot. And so to get that thorn out, one will find another thorn and pluck the thorn out with the other thorn and then throw both thorns away. So using the material body to get rid of the material body is the process of devotional service. Okay, so we get a little bit here, and of course back to Maharaj Yudhishthira's. And this particular verse is the prelude to a series of verses which will follow, explaining what Yudhishthira is going through and how Krishna will solve that problem by bringing Yudhishthira to Bhishma Dev. Okay, I'll stop there.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for enlightening us on this beautiful, I would say, awakening messages, because this analogy of body and building the house was really, really good awakening message for me as well. I found it really useful that body proprietorship is actually with Krishna, and he has given this body just to serve him. So we need to have a constant reminder for ourselves on whether we are having full faith and surrender, and are we really going to achieve transcendental happiness, or we are really happy in this bad bargain. And the last point which you mentioned, Guru Maharaj, that was also very important, that how to use this body to get rid of this material body. It's very important, and whatever Krishna has given, we have to accept it, but we have to use that in the right purpose for the right cause. So thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If you have any questions, any comments, or any realizations, please raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself. And also, my humble request to everyone, please do switch on your video if possible. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it looks really, really live to see everyone beautiful faces. Sridevi Mataji, you have already raised your hand, so please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Vrindavan Prabhu. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for reminding us that this body belongs to Krishna and has to be used in his service. I have a question regarding maintaining the body properly versus pampering the body in the name of taking good care of it. There are times when maybe we are not pushing ourselves, saying I have to take care of my body, when actually we should. And there are times when we push ourselves too much and lose health, trying to overdo things. So how to know to keep the right balance between taking care of the body versus pushing it too much or pushing it too little?
Well, Krishna speaks about that in the 6th chapter. One who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little, cannot practice the yoga system. He also says, one who is temperate, he uses that word temperate, in eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, can successfully execute the yoga system. So temperate is translated as moderate. Moderate means the middle road, not too much, not too little. Now, then you go to think, well, you know, one particular person's body is different than another's. So for one's level of practice or care is maybe different than another's. So one has to individually understand through the execution of their own devotional service and the knowledge that comes by way of Guru, Shadow, and Shastra, where is my level of practice. So taking Krishna's words of temporality or moderate or temperate, we use that as the barometer, not too much. So what we usually do is that when we go too far in one direction, we try to go back towards the other direction. And generally we go too far in the other direction then. And we find it hard to get a balance. But one should practice, and therefore Krishna says regulating the senses and the mind and engaging it in devotional service. So in the Christian tradition, they have a particular saying, know thyself. In other words, know how much you can actually perform. So it's a learning process. With the knowledge that's given and the experiences that we have, we combine these two into understanding how to balance our life. But you find that wherever you emphasize, that area becomes the prominent one. If you emphasize the spiritual side, that expands. If you emphasize the material side, that expands. So taking care of the body should be seen as an extension of our devotional service. In other words, I have to serve, and this body is needed. Therefore, I have to give it what it needs in order to serve nicely. So using the example, if I eat too much, then I know it'll be a problem. I'll fall down into the lower modes of passion and ignorance. It'll be hard to execute my devotional service. I become sleepy. If I eat too little, then the mind becomes a little hard to control and to focus it on Krishna and devotional service. So a devotee will think in relationship to what's beneficial for my service. And that is the way we can use the proper barometer. Is this favorable or is this unfavorable for my devotional service? And so we find ourselves, struggling with these different principles. But as we practice it, we should get an understanding of what I can do and what I can't do, what I should do and what I should not do. And you practice, and you'll find most of the time there's always some adjustment as time goes on. Just like foods during one particular season may not be beneficial in another season. Warm weather foods may not be beneficial in cold weather and vice versa. So that will affect, the body. So you'll find Prabhupada has also given us a whole series of instructions on how we should maintain the body. So that's also coming from Guru. And one should desire a healthy life because self-realization is the goal of life. Material desires for furthering our situation in this material world simply divert our attention away from the real goal and cause us to using too much time. So the answer, of course, Krishna gives moderation.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for a very detailed answer. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna, Scarlett Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, accept my humble obeisances And all glories to Prabhupada and all glories to you, Your Holiness Candramauli. I'm very, 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 very thankful to be attending to this classes. My question is, to maintain the body, you say you have to do it the right way. But if for instance, I have been through many surgeries, which all of them has only destroyed, and because of that, I have constantly pain. But I don't take any medicine for it. I don't want it. I don't want to have any medicine for it. But it limits me, because of the pain, it limits me to, for instance, to do the service. I would very, very much love to do services. We have a very, very little temple nearby, but it's difficult for me because I have constantly pain and I have difficulty to sleep. For instance, I sleep only 2 hours at a time because of the pain. I wake up and then I sleep again, I wake up. So there is no more than 2 hours each time. So how do you, is it okay that I'm still don't want to have a medicine and try to do that little that I can? Is it acceptable?
Well, if you think the medicine can help you in reducing the pain and also engaging in more of your time in service, then medicine becomes, a feature of our devotional life. So medicine is also manufactured by Krishna. He says, I am the healing herb. So we follow, other times we follow a particular regime for health, medicine, and it's meant to bring back health or reinforce health. Well, for what reason? It's not that we want to become healthy so we can enjoy the material life. That health is used so I can serve nicer without so many disturbances. So if you might consider that this medicine might be helpful in helping you to reduce pain and engaging more in devotional service. That's one way to look at it. The other way is that if you don't want to take the medicine, then whatever service you can do is fine. In other words, Krishna doesn't say you have to do a lot of service. He just says, use your intelligence, use your mind, use your energy in my service. So whatever you can do according to your situation, that's devotional service. Some people do so much, some people do less, some people do more, but it's not more or less or how much, it's the quality that we execute the service. In other words, are we trying to please Krishna by our service? Are we trying to make spiritual advancement by our service? Are we trying to gain knowledge by our service? These are all the right attitudes. If you have the right attitude, then whatever service you're doing will be accepted by Krishna.
What I meant, I help with a little. I do garland every Friday. I go there and to the temple and I do garland for deities. This is what I can do, the only thing. And the rest of the time, I do this.
Read.
Read and chant. This is the rest of my time. I don't go anywhere. I don't go meet anyone. I don't talk in the telephone. I don't look at the film or anything. I just read. All my Srimad Bhagavatam, all of them, it's like that.
Quite colorful.
Yes, just because I need to remember what I have been read and where. Here is another. See?
Yeah. Well, you can take that reading to the next level, is that as you read, You should be getting some understanding of what you read, and you can also write things down. And then you can start writing articles based on your reading. And that will be good for you and also may be helpful for others. So reading is hearing and writing is kirtan
This is
or
what I do.
chanting.
This is what I do.
Hmm.
I write to Lord Krishna and I tell him what I understand of everything what I have been reading. And then I ask, please show me the way. Please tell me if I read right, if I have understood right. So I write a letter to him in my journal. I don't know.
Yeah,
It might be maybe crazy. I don't know, but it feels okay to do it.
yeah, it is. It's nice. That's devotional service.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. Keep
Please.
doing it and then just think how you can make it better.
My last question. When I do chanting, because I have so much pain, so I must go walk around in my little room. I have only a little room. I don't have a big apartment. This is all what you see. It's my apartment, nothing more. But because I have pain, so I walk around a little bit. But it's very difficult to have this one. What I do it with this one. I count with this one. Is it wrong? Is it okay?
I can't say it's wrong, but it's always better with the beads because the beads give you the sense of touch. And meditation means to engage the different senses in the service of the Lord. In other words, chanting is engaging the tongue. Chanting is engaging the ears. When you finger the beads, you're doing two things. You're actually engaging the sense of touch. So 3 senses are being put into the classes of devotional service, which will help increase the quality of the meditation. So I would suggest, of course, you might have to see whether it's practical or not. If you find it too hard to chant the beads, then you can use those other things, but I stay away from those things 100%. I've tried them myself and I don't like them at all.
I use this only when I'm laying down in my bed because I heard you to say that it's okay to use it in the bed too, even when you're laying down. So I use this when I'm laying down, when I'm not going around, when I'm not sitting. I use this all the time in my bed. But when I go around, it's very difficult because it's how to say it connect with things, and I'm afraid that it comes on the floor, and I don't like it. I want to have it holy, so I don't want to how to say, to fall down from my hand because I have very bad finger because I have rheumatism, and that's why it's easier for me to have this because I'm not going to lose it.
That's a practical thing.
But
That's
when
practical.
I'm in the bed, I always use this in the bed.
But when you're sitting in the chair also.
Yes, but sometimes I get so much pain, so I have to stand up very quickly because the pain is so sharp. So I have to stand up.
I would suggest which might help you to become more focused, is to take your medicine.
It's morphine. It's drug. It's morphine. Morphine will destroy the head. It's morphine. I don't want to have morphine. It's
all right. Then
they give me.
I'm not telling you have to. I'm just suggesting if you can do something to lessen your pain, it would be better. But I don't.
The only time that it has helped me, it has been morphine, and I don't want it. It's
all right. Then if you don't want it,
it makes me not feeling good in my head.
Well,
I don't feel good in my head.
Then don't do it.
No, I'm not doing it. I have not done it for many years now. So no, I'm not doing it. But as I told you, I get sharp pain, so I have to just stand up very quickly and just take some steps to just make it go down well.
Okay, good.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for very nice questions. Hare Krishna, devotee. If you have any other questions, please do unmute yourself. And I feel, as Guru Maharaj was saying, it's very important reminder when our body is working. Please make best usage of that. That's reminder for myself also. And I think most critical for me. So.
Okay.
So we are very close to Guru Maharaj, our 1 hour on the clock, but we'll wait for any other devotees if they have any last minute questions, comments, realizations.
Tomorrow is the Ekadasi day, so maybe we'll be doing a class more on chanting tomorrow and on Ekadasi also.
Tomorrow is Ananda
Okay.
Ekadashi.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Mataji, you have
Yes.
one
I
other
need-
question?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead.
Maharaj, you named Ekadashi, and I have done the fasting for a while, and I try to do full fasting. I don't drink, I don't eat anything. But when it has been, say, about 8 at night or 9 at night, then I had very, very bad headache. I get very bad headache, but I don't take anything. Still, I would try to hold on with my fasting. Is it wrong to fast when you have pain? No.
You really want me to answer that? Or
Yes, please.
you gonna accept my answer or you're gonna not accept it?
Of course, I will accept it.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Drink a little water then.
Okay.
That'll mitigate that pain in the head.
But will my fasting be acceptable still?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one level of fasting. That's all. There's 5 levels by which you can follow Ekadasi. And
Okay.
complete fast from water and food is the highest and the ultimate. But Krishna doesn't say you're going to become Krishna conscious by fasting. He doesn't say that.
No, I understand. I understand. It's not that's why I'm doing it. I'm
You
doing
get
it just to learn to have control of my senses.
Then all I say is drink a little water.
Thank you.
Thank you. Devotees don't like to see other devotees suffer.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mataji, and thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think it ends with the point which you started with, the compassion which Yudhishthira Maharaj was having. So thank you on closing that note. Hare Krishna, dear devotee. Thank you very much for joining this call. And thank you, Guru Maharaj, for your wonderful messages.
I'm so
Prabhupada
grateful.
ki jai.
I'm so grateful, Jai.
Okay,
Jai
we'll
Srila Prabhupada.
we'll see you all tomorrow, same time.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru
It's the
Maharaj.
Kirti. Asha, Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay,
Guru Maharaj.
Hari, Ananda Vrindavan.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Ananda Gopika. You're speaking, but no voice, no sound is coming out.
Mataji, you're on mute in case.
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
That's better. A little bit. Thank you for the, thank you for the nice fruit.
Very nice.
Thank you.